Hey guys, update 24 is here, so let's jump into it. First things first, new hero. Everyone is having a great time with Sauda, Swordmaster. We have a Sword Monkey, so let's grab that. Yeah. And Leaping Attack. So abilities, Leaping Attack, Sword Charge. Leaping Attack, it will actually follow the hero's targeting, so ignore the Nurek saying strongest there. If you set her to strong, it will. But if you leave her on first, it'll target first. But she jumps up, and wherever she lands, which is like full map radius, she lands on top of any target, whatever. Does a lot of damage, leaves a sword on the ground, and they deal damage to things that go past them. And then she goes back to where she was. Sword Charge. So if you remember the original collection events, the ones where with like the trick or treaters, it kind of looks a bit like that. She spawns at the exit of the track. If there's multiple lanes, then she spawns multiple times. She duplicates. So she disappears, spawns at the exit, and then rushes along the track and just cuts everything to pieces. Both of these will interrupt her main attack, so you kind of have to time them for when they're needed. But they're definitely quite powerful if you use them correctly. We go overhead levels. Yep, slashes with swords. We'll go over across and look at the ones that actually do things. So 7 does extra damage to Bloons that are stunned. So a bit of an interesting synergy there. She can also pop frozen. And Bloon bleed. So Bloon's bleeding. That's right. She gains a damage over time, which is, you know, useful. It's not exactly insane compared to her sitting there and just slashing rapidly, but anything that leaks past of her will continue taking a bit of dot and probably pop anyway, even though it got past her. Sword Charge 11. So anything that's now slowed, immobilized in any way, which is like frozen, or just taking damage over time from another monkey, also gets extra damage. So that you can like Alchemist buff her and have the Alchemist a little ahead of her, and the Alchemist Acid debuff, well, it's not a debuff, it's just damage over time, but that will trigger this and give her extra damage, so that there is a bit of a busted synergy, because Alchemist also is quite helpful for her, but yep. Can pop all Bloon types. Also, she gains camo from level 1. It's not mentioned there, probably something that will need to be added there in future, but she has camo detection, so level 13, she has no weakness, aside from, you know, strength. Gain speed, yep, Bloon bleed, yep. And that's pretty much the main things you want to know. Yeah, this one interesting. She gains extra damage to regrow Bloons, which is something that I don't think anything currently does off the top of my head. Pretty sure nothing does that, but also extra damage to fortified and camo. So yeah, she gets pretty interesting against all those Bloons of special properties. And then the Sword Charge just kind of triggers like triple, which is quite useful there. Oh, we'll go back in here. New Benjamin skin as well. Sushi Bento. So he starts a little sushi platform, which is amusing. Same Benjamin you know and love. He just now has the sushi skin, which I'll leave off for now because I would prefer to show Sauda when I go into my game. Gold Bloon has been added to the game, which, as you can see here, goes off. There we go. It landed on end of the road. So you won't see it in like the first 10-20 rounds of the game, but then after that, there's one guaranteed in every segment of 10 rounds. Until you start free play. There's none in free play. And so these are pretty tricky, but if you pop them, you get a little bit of monkey money. And worth noting, you don't get much monkey money from these, but this is not an event. Everyone keeps on saying, oh, whatever, this event doesn't give much, but this is not an event. This is a permanent feature of the game. You just get more monkey money now if you follow this thing around. So that's all. It's a permanent feature. It's not an event. But yeah. So Gold Bloon is a thing. Gets stronger at higher rounds. It only takes 1 damage from any attack, and then it has a brief period of immunity after taking a hit. So you can't just spam damage and deal with it by spamming damage. Let's go into Sandbox here. If you want to deal with Gold Bloon, good thing to do. You like If you have like a stronger glue at the entrance here, when it comes in, it'll immediately get glued. If you don't have any acid, then you will not trigger the immunity. And then you can like anything that blows back stuns, you can get it with like Ice Monkey's pretty good. You'll catch it with an Ice Monkey. You can have like a Balloon Impact that'll catch it. Any stuns will be quite useful. If you have a damage over time, these can be good or bad depending on how much health it has left. If you put a damage over time on it, like let's see, an Alchemist for example. I can't really show you a Goblin here, but if you put a damage over time on it, every time it comes off immunity, it will instantly like take the dot damage. But that also means it will keep jumping around, and you can't really catch it with any stuns or anything. So, yeah, a few things to be aware of there. Anyway, I'll probably be able to talk more about that in the future, but we'll see what people work out for now. There's some interesting things you can do with Goblins there. Now jump on Sauda. You've probably already seen Sauda. She's pretty cool. So I'm not going to go into too much detail here. I've already gone over her descriptions. But yeah, swing swords. Swings in pretty fast. Jumps. And they do a bit of damage before going away. I obviously sent too many for her to deal with all of these. But look, popping those down to greens. And then I use this and Deletos. And she does that 3 times at level 20. So pretty awesome. I am excited to do some Force Outer games there, because that's interesting. New trophy store items, which are all on sale at the moment. If you're a part of the Reddit, you'll notice these new avatars are winners of the competition that ran on Reddit recently. So these 3 are all user-made avatars. They went to a competition on the Reddit, and these were some of the winners. There was 10 winners overall, which are going to be added to the game. So these are the first 3 that were added to the game. So we got a little Dart Monkey and Side Attack Shooter, or some monkey. I guess that's Attack Monkey. Yep. From a very talented artist in our community. It's Churchill. And yeah, a cute little wizard. So, congratulations to those 3. You did great work, and I'm looking forward to seeing the other ones come in future. I hope we can do more stuff like that, because I really like getting community ideas at least considered. So yeah, there's some limited time Easter items, little bunny for Oban, some Dartling Gun eggs, got some skins for Moabs, bunny hats, emote here. This is just a limited time avatar, it's not a user made one though. Another emote, full screen emote, flowers pop effects, although I really like the comic book effects, so I'm probably not going to use those myself. A Ninja Kiwi pet. Yep. It's finally in the game. People kept on mentioning this as a meme, as a joke, but yeah. There is now an actual Ninja Kiwi in a Ninja Kiwi game. It's a pet, but it exists. And a placement animation for Benjamin, although I use Sushi Benjamin now, so don't exactly need that just yet, cause Sushi Ben. Alright, skip over things. Oh, yep. So, challenge browser, if you're interested in this, we now have challenge info. You can see attempts, wins, fails, unique players, victorious players. You can see a first winner and a most recent winner. This particular thing here was not tracked until this update, so challenges from before this update will not have this unless someone rebeats the challenge in this update. These stats, however, were tracked before now, so that they will be here for old challenges. So, I can go on. Where is a good one? Here we go. So we get this one. Look at this. So we've got about almost 700,000 attempts here. 28,000 wins. So attempts, number of times that people have, hit play, restarted. Yep, that's all added up there. Wins, number of people who have reached a victory, obviously. Fails, this is, number of people who have hit restart. Number of people who have hit a victory screen. Yep. A defeat screen. Unique players, so this is less obvious, but if you haven't worked it out, unique players is a number of actual individual people who have tried it out, like individual accounts. So different accounts. As you can see, with about 700,000 attempts and 100,000 unique players, this means there's about 100,000 people who've played this race, and each of them on average attempted it 7 times. So, oh, failed it 7 times, I guess. Oh, no, sorry, this isn't fails, this is attempts. Failed it 6.7 times, and won it 2.8 times. Yeah, you know, math. Victorious players is the same as unique players, except they won. So the number of different people that won. As you can see, with roughly 29,000 wins and roughly 26,000 victorious players, this means there are players who beat it multiple times. Not too many though. These numbers are actually pretty close. But yeah, basically this wins number's higher because some people beat it multiple times. So yeah, interesting. If that's a thing that you enjoy, then cool. How do I actually? I want to look at. Here we go. Let's have a look at an ISEB challenge. I named one that recently. Oh well. First one in a gumball, good job there. Supreme Avocado won it just before I looked at this, of course. Yeah. So yeah, I hope that people enjoy that. We've been trying to work more on the challenge edit, and it seems to be really enjoyable content for like content creators in general. If you're a player who enjoys content creators' content, then check out their challenges and yeah, follow them and give them more stats because they appreciate that a lot. So also, experience reduction from free play has been reduced. So I'll try to explain this. So basically, if you look at easy mode, for example, easy mode goes to round 40. This means previously, the moment you beat victory, like the moment you achieve victory, you go continue into free play, your XP is cut by 90%. That's how it worked before. So you have to kind of start a new game if you want to really get any experience, if you want to level up your towers at all. So now this is only 70% cut. So you're getting 3 times as much experience in free play. Until round 100. So what this means is easy. After you beat round 40, if you play to round 100, you get 60 rounds at 70% reduced, and then from 100 onwards, it's now 90% reduced again. But if you look at oh, sorry, I have a save. Whatever. I didn't mean to start. Whatever. Yeah. So 80. This means you play to 80, you beat it. Then there's 20 rounds until 100. Those 20 rounds you get bonus XP. Chimps and Impalpable. Of course, I clicked it. Chimps, Impalpable, they go to 100. So this means you play to 100 and then you go straight into the 90% reduced XP. You get no advantage here. So yeah, this is pretty much just a bonus from playing until easier modes until round 100. You get a little bit more XP there. But after round 100, everything is the same as it was before. I should probably... Can I just lose this? Yeah. Let me delete my stuff here. You can't damage them anyway. So, yeah, defeat screens have now been updated as well. It will actually show you a list of things that defeated you. As you can see here, this means I lost 176 lives to Black Bloons. And yeah, that's what beat me. And that's how that works. This will... If you leak like a Moab, it'll say like 616 to a Moab. It's not how many of this thing that leaked, it's like how many lives you lost to each individual thing. If you lose 2 Moabs, it'll say like... Well, if you leak 2 Moabs and you have less than 616 lives, it'll just show one of them. But if you farmed like over like 700 lives or something, it'll show you like 1,232 lives leaked to a Moab or something like that. It adds up individual types. So... useful if you don't know what beat you. That's a thing that's annoying sometimes in some maps. So it doesn't save you, but it shows you what beat you. Yeah. A bunch of little small fixes, which I'll skip over there. Monkey Meta has been updated. There's like a small bit of extra trees here, which the Juggernaut shots will bounce off. So if you like bouncing your Juggernauts, that's now possible in Monkey Meta. It's the most popular map in the game, so nice to introduce that feature a bit better. I will not go over every one of these, but we've had a bunch of descriptions updated. Like, for example, Super Monkey Fan Club now mentions regular attack speed also increased. We look at Boomerang, it now mentions, the Glaive Lords, the main attack gets buffed as well. This was not really mentioned because it was a part of as a balance change that went in a while ago, which was like one of those uncertain balance changes that didn't end up getting explained well outside of the patch notes until now. So yeah, there's a ton of those. If you look at the update log on Reddit, you'll be able to see all of the different things that are updated there, but I will not go over those right now. Can't show it here, but there is improved Discord integration. So if you're on Discord and you share your game that you're playing, it will show a bunch more detail, basically. Yeah, I won't really go over that, but there's a bunch more detail for Discord integration. It tells you like what map you're doing, stuff like that. Pretty useful. I can probably fit the balance into this video as well, since it was a bit smaller this update comparatively due to the larger focus on other things. So yeah, jump into that. Sharpshooter, if you remember from the previous update, it was buffed in attack speed but nerfed in damage, which was overall nice for a lot of things, but specifically with like black Bloons, for example, it would hit them down to reds, and if you know how bloom splitting works, that's a lot of reds, and this guy doesn't have much pierce, so it couldn't handle those. So yeah, it's just been buffed overall, keeps the attack speed, and also gets +1 damage, back to the same damage it had before. Glaive Lord just had fortified damage, +2 added to its rotating glaives, so once you're in that free play Bloon range and you get fortified ceramics, it can kind of deal with them a bit better. They don't just completely ruin it, as long as you're not in like a straight line. There is a issue with free play at the moment where if you go above round 80, you have to then restart, actually. But hopefully that will be resolved soon. Yeah, otherwise the scaling kind of screws up. Maulstrom, the one that all the racers hate. So it has had its pierce reduced down to 100 per blade in the ability. So as you can see, each of these blades in the ability, yeah, you saw the arms kind of stopped there for a second because it actually hit its pierce cap. So yeah, so each blade only 100 pierce now, which is not really an issue most of the time, but you'll may be able to notice that. Super Brittle just had its pierce reduced by 2000. Absolute Zero had the ability duration increased, so this is increased from 10 seconds to 15 seconds. Now has 50% uptime on the ability. So, interesting there. 30 second cooldown, 15 second duration. This might still need to actually be changed again in future, I think, because it appears that people would prefer to have cooldown rather than duration. So some consideration may need to go there. We'll see what happens in future though. Glue Gunner, just some small changes. Balloon Dissolver was reduced by 100, not too much. Tier 4 was reduced by 500, not too much, but this overall makes the Bloon Solver fairly cheap to get. Yeah, it's one that I use more now. Moab Glue, if you saw in last update, this was nerfed to be less effective on Moabs. The multiplier was reduced from previously, before the last update, it was 0.625 times speed. This was nerfed to 0.75 times. This unfortunately caused some background problems. It didn't interact correctly with Monkey Knowledge. If you got Splatter, the splash didn't apply it correctly. It was just kind of buggy in general, so that has been reverted, and now Moab Glue has the same slow effectiveness that it used to. Just the same as before. And something else will need to happen with Relentless Glue and Super Glue in future, because, yeah, changing those speed amounts just doesn't seem to work too well. So yeah, if you have any thoughts on just completely soul binding Super Glue, bring that up, because whatever. Similar to the Maelstrom, Ground Zero has had its pierce reduced to 1000, which is more than you will ever see in a normal game, but racers hate this. So let's see. If I send 501, there you go. Didn't pop everything. Can I catch that? Yeah. So 1000 pierce there. The Tsar Bomber tier 5 has 5000, as well as the ability cooldown being reduced from 40 seconds to 35. Razor Rotors, we all know it sucked. The worst tier 3 heli. It doesn't work well with Pursuit, since Pursuit pulls the Rotors away from the Bloons. Damage has now been doubled just for the Razor Rotors. These now deal 2 damage, so yep. Those Razors now, I'm also sending 500 Bloons still, but as you can see, they're actually doing a fair bit more than they used to, if they hit. So you probably want to use this on not Pursuit if you want to really make use of those, but as we all know, Pursuit's amazing, so this is just kind of a very minor buff to people who can hit Bloons already. So, Mortar Monkey, nothing too incredible here, but Bloon Incineration has had its price reduced by 5,000, just since it's like, it's a weird to use DPS tower that's stuck behind a bunch of support upgrades, so like you get, there's like, aside from Bernie stuff, which is not an amazing DPS, these are all support upgrades, support, and then you get to the tier 5, which is a DPS, but can't solo, because like, very slow, I guess. Actually, I didn't buy it because both very slow and kind of, you know, it relies on a damage over time, and damages over time don't really work with Moabs unless you keep applying them, because once the Moab layer breaks, it unapplies, and then you get a target and you miss. So yeah, very awkward to use DPS tower. So it's just a little bit cheaper now. Dartling Gunner just had the starting price reduced from 1,000 to 850, so fairly big starting price buff there. If you have military conscription, this brings it even lower, and you can get it pretty quickly at the start of a game. In addition to this, the Plasma Accelerator has had its attack speed buffed. It's now 20% faster. And this also does, of course, apply to Ray of Doom. Ray of Doom is now 20% faster. So both these tier 4 and tier 5, 20% more DPS. Bottom path, Bloon Exclusion Zone, 2,000 cheaper. Not too huge, but this wasn't exactly a bad upgrade, so you can kind of get that a little bit easier now. Similar to the others, Techterra had its price reduced from 22k to 19k. However, the ability's pierce has been reduced to 2,000, which is something you will just never notice. You'll never have that many Bloons inside ready to this thing when you're using the ability. It just doesn't happen. Tier 5 reduced to 10,000, which you will literally never see. But in general, any of these things which kind of have uncapped pierce, that's going to be done away with. That's not going to be a thing because it's just dumb. And simple as that, it needs to not be the way it works. Okay, so a change was made a while ago to make Perishing Potions buff Berserker Brew. This didn't exactly pull favor away from faster throwing much, because there's such rare cases in which it's good to buff just one tower rather than using faster throwing to buff like 2 or 3 towers. And even in those cases, depending on the tower, a lot of the time it's still better to use faster throwing. So there's been a slight buff here. First of all, Acidic Mixture Dip now also benefits from this. If you get the 220 cross path, then Acidic Mixture Dip gives you 13 buffed attacks per throw rather than 10. Compared to 20% attack speed, this means that this is the superior Acidic Mixture Dip cross path. That's, yeah. You're getting a 30% increase here with a 20% if you go bottom. It gets more debatable with the top cross path still. So Berserker Brew amount was buffed from 35 with this cross path to 40. So that might actually be reasonable to use in some cases now. And obviously Stronger Stimulant is just a buff to Berserker Brew, so it also receives that extra 5 shots if you go here. So yeah. So if you're single target buffing a tower, it might be better to use this now. Although if you're trying to buff 2 or 3 towers, you obviously always want to get the faster throwing still, because that's just more useful there. Very small nerf to spiked balls. Price was increased from 2,200 to 2,300. Along with a buff to spiked mines, price was reduced from 12k to 11k. So nothing too huge there. This isn't going to suddenly make spiked mines amazing, and it's not going to be a big nerf to spiked balls. That's like only 100, but yeah, some minor tweaks there. Permaspike has had a bit of a crosspath change. The bigger stacks now gives Pierce increased from 50 to 80 instead of the 70 it was previously, just to make it a little bit closer to the middle crosspath, because obviously it's always better to get the attack speed currently, or before now, and just like give it lead popping with Acidic Mixture Dip. This is still, that's still going to be a little bit edging over this, but they're a lot closer now since the attack speed is not quite double anymore, and this is getting close to double Pierce. So it's mainly a challenge change, you know. Currently challenges, if Alchemist is banned, if it's hard to get an MIB, then White Hot Spikes is the only way to deal with DDTs with your Permaspike. But yeah, so crosspath's a little bit closer there now, not too huge a thing. And last of all, I don't have Urban, so we'll swap to Urban. But Urban has been changed to function the same as Gwen does. So if you know how Gwen works with her abilities, basically Gwen's abilities will target Bloons if they are in her radius. So now, with Urban, wait for Bloon to be in radius, use that, it targets the Bloon. Obviously this is a invisible Bloon, so yeah. If I go to level 10 as well. If I use them now, they're kind of just random. But can I clear those? Clear these quickly. Clear them quickly, I said. Alright. So now, have the Moab in range, use this, it'll actually just hit the Moab. So yeah, a bit of a just RNG lessener there. If you want to time your abilities for when things are in radius, when you want to target at them, then you got less RNG there. You can do a bit more without as much trouble. And that's pretty much all there is of this update. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, then go ahead and we'll see you around.